All right, if you're looking at the Kansas City metro area, you'll notice that the whole area straddles the Missouri and Kansas side. So which side should you live on?
We're about to find out.
All right, so first thing we need to clear up, when most people talk about Kansas City, they're talking about Kansas City, Missouri.
That's right.
Something that if you're gonna live here, you're gonna struggle with your entire life.
Especially if you live on the Kansas side.
Yeah, that's right. So when people talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, it is not the Kansas City, Kansas Chiefs.
Nope.
It's the Kansas City, Missouri Chiefs. More on that later. So we're gonna dive into the differences on either side. Keep in mind, we're all one big happy family, but it is kind of unique that you've got some opportunities and like restrictions on one side. You can travel 10 minutes across state line and it's completely different. So stay tuned and we're gonna jump into these right now.
So first off, the vibe of the Kansas side. So Kansas is more affluent area. Your median price point of your homes is higher. More of your like luxury shopping and your luxury dining tend to be more on the Kansas side than the Missouri side.
Yeah, so over on the Missouri side, I would say the vibe is more cultural, a lot more artsy. We've got museums, we've got the Crossroads District, which is really art district. We've got the Nelson Atkins Art Museum. That's kind of the big differences between the two as far as the vibe of your living situation. So one thing that's kind of unique because we are on the state line is there's some minor laws that are different whether you're on the Kansas side or Missouri side.
Yeah, so Kansas, you can actually get your learner's permit at 14 to drive. And Kansas has sports betting legal anywhere. So you don't have to be in the casino. You can do it on your phone.
Yeah, that's a pretty recent thing. That's what, a year old?
No, that happened in September. So
only
very
a few months
recent,
old.
like right before football.
Yeah, it's funny because you'll see people on the Missouri side go travel across state line, make their bets, and then come back over. So over on the Missouri side, Kansas, you get your driver's permit at 14. On Missouri side, it's 15. The other big law that is coming into effect, actually as of 2 days ago, is that weed, marijuana, recreational use is now legal in Missouri. So we're gonna see how that changes the culture around here. I know there's some positives. I know that it's gonna be taxed pretty heavily and that's gonna be put to good use. I think schools and other local municipal taxes, things of that nature.
The other big law in Kansas are what they call their sin tax. So Kansas has a much higher sin tax.
Sin, S-I-N?
S-I-N.
Like a sin.
So your cigarettes, your smokeless tobacco, your alcohol is typically more expensive in Kansas than you would find in Missouri because of what they call the sin tax. The other thing is Kansas liquor laws. Most of the time their liquor stores have select hours on the weekends, especially on Sundays. As far as what time bars close is different in Kansas than in Missouri. So Missouri is much more lax in those. In Kansas City, Missouri, they don't have open container laws. So you can walk around downtown Missouri, Plaza area or P&L, like with like a beer in your hand. So where in Kansas, you can't walk around like that.
So you're saying Kansas doesn't like to party?
Not as much as Missouri, that's for sure. So, and then the final thing is in Missouri, they also don't have the open container law in the car. So as long as you have one less,
that could be a little dicey,
than the person driving. Right? So if you've got two people in the car, you can have one open container for the passenger.
In theory, the driver's not drinking.
Well, I mean, not in theory, like that's still law.
Yeah, right.
But yes, the driver should not be drinking, but anyone else in the vehicle can be drinking. But not in Kansas. So if you're going from Missouri to Kansas, make sure you don't do that.
Yeah, don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah.
Not proud of that one, but it is what it is.
But again, partying.
Right.
So our next topic is housing in Missouri and Kansas and what that looks like or what the average price point is. So when we're talking about the average price point for Kansas, we're talking about two counties specifically, Johnson County, Kansas and Wyandotte County, Kansas. So these two are your main, more city or more suburbia counties. If you get outside that, Miami County, Douglas County, those are going to be more of your rural counties.
But still considered
the
metro area.
Yeah, metro or Kansas City. But for our numbers, we're just going to look at Johnson County and Wyandotte County.
Right.
And the average price point for a home there for 2020 was $354,000, which is significantly higher than if you found something on the Missouri side.
Yeah, so jumping over to the Missouri side, again, kind of like Kansas, we're going to look at a few counties. We've got Jackson County, Platte County, Cass County, and Clay County. Kansas City proper is in Jackson County. That's probably the most populated county in the metro, but we're going to include these four. The end of 2022, the median home price point in those four counties was $259,000. So there's a pretty big difference between
almost
the two.
$100,000 difference.
And I think you see that as you're driving around. You go over to the Kansas side, things are a little bit more elevated, much higher experience as far as like luxury dining and retail shopping, things like that. So that's something to consider if you're going to look at moving to Kansas City is, which side can I afford and which one might be a little out of my price point.
Yeah, and that doesn't include your more rural counties in Missouri. There's a Johnson County, Missouri as well. Don't get too confused because they are vastly different. So Johnson County, Missouri, and then you also have Ray County, Missouri, which is like north of the river on the Missouri side, that are more of your rural type areas. So those price points will be even less than the average.
Right. So the next thing to consider between the two states is the tax rate. And we have a couple different categories to talk about here. The first being personal property tax.
So the personal property tax rate in the state of Kansas. Now, let's define what personal property is first. So this is anything but real estate, right? So cars, airplanes, trailers, boats, jet skis, anything like that, that's going to be taxed as personal property. So that rate for the state of Kansas is 2.69% of the current value of your whatever.
And over on the Missouri side, personal property tax is a little bit lower at 2.24%.
So next we're going to talk about sales tax. So sales tax on any items in the state of Kansas is 6.5%.
And over on the Missouri side, the sales tax is 4.22%.
Yeah, so a little bit lower on the Missouri side for that tax as well. And the final thing is the income tax rate. So this is the state income tax rate. And so for the state of Kansas, that income tax rate is 4.4% of your income.
Over on the Missouri side, again, a little bit cheaper. The average income tax rate is 2.24%.
So the other thing about Missouri, though, is if you work or live in Kansas City, you also have an additional 1% tax for the city tax rate. So something to consider if you are living or working in Kansas City proper. And finally, if you live in one state and work in the other, you can be subject to both tax rates depending on which one you go to. So something to consider if you're looking at a job in one state, it's probably beneficial to also live in that state too.
That's definitely a big factor. Although it's not uncommon for people to live on one side and work on the other. All right, so the last thing we want to talk about is what are the top attractions on either side of the state line. This is a little bit more fun, where the other stuff is a little bit more educational and technical. But before we get into those, if you like this video, please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the little bell button so every time we make a new video, you get an alert.
That's right. And as much as we love doing these videos for you guys, we actually love helping you with your real estate needs. So if you need any help financing real estate, whether that's a new home for you or you're buying an investment property, please reach out to me. My information is below. And if you're looking for a home, you want to go look at a home, or you're thinking about selling your home, reach out to Curtis here. His information is below, and we'd love to help you with any questions you have.
All right, so let's get into it. The top attractions on the Missouri side, biggest one is going to be our beloved Kansas City Chiefs.
That's right.
We are recording this the week before the Super Bowl. I hope it comes out before the Super Bowl, so go Chiefs. We've got more of the major sports teams on this side. Chiefs, the Royals, and then when you're talking about Kansas City, downtown Kansas City, this is where all your downtown attractions are going to be. So we've got the Power and Light District, Crossroads Art District, we've got the Nelson Atkins Art Museum, World War I Museum, Plaza. There is tons to do over here on the Missouri side. We also have the zoo.
And if you've lived in Kansas City long enough, you still call it the Sprint Center, but it's called the T-Mobile Center. And it's our big arena in the area. So you'll have your bigger concerts are going to be there, indoor concerts. I'm going to Disney on Ice there in a couple weeks. So those bigger attractions are going to be over on the Missouri side. So on the Kansas side, you have the Kansas Speedway. So a big racing fan. That's a big attraction over on the Kansas side. And that's next to the Legends shopping area. And the Legends is an outlet mall. So tons of great stores that you can get for a little bit less than if you just went to a normal Brooks Brothers or a normal Forever 21. So it's all outlet stores there. The other big thing that's also at the Legends is our soccer team, which is Sporting KC. Those games, if you I'm not a soccer fan at all, I still highly recommend to go check out one of those games. A lot of fun. The other thing they have over there is the Kansas City Monarchs, which is our minor league baseball team. So all of this is right in the Legends shopping area. So you've got the Speedway, you've got soccer, you've got baseball. There's always something to do over there. There's also the outdoor amphitheater that is not too far from the Legends as well. So this is going to be a lot of your outdoor concerts in the summer.
A lot of fun stuff to do on either side. Really the point to get here is that the whole metro area straddles the Missouri and Kansas border. So some of it can be confusing, but for the most part, no matter where you live, you're gonna be able to enjoy all the amenities and take advantage of all the great things that Kansas City has to offer. But if you want to know more, reach out to us and we'll help you decide which side you want to live on.